What's up, Celtics Nation? James Anderson here, bleeding green. And man, today's news is heavy. Smash that subscribe button, hammer that like, and stick with me, because what dropped in the last few hours could completely flip the future of our franchise. We've got a statement that'll give any fan of the green and gold straight chills. There's a name floating around behind the scenes that could shake up the entire offseason. And we've got a piece of our roster who might just be the key to it all. All of that today. The question is, are you ready for what's coming? Let me tell you something that a lot of fans aren't fully grasping. Jayson Tatum came back from an Achilles tear, spent 10.5 months rebuilding his body, returned for the final stretch of the season, and still carried Boston to the playoffs. 6 games against Philly, averaging 23.3 points, almost 11 boards, near 7 assists, all while operating at maybe 80 to 85% of his full capacity. That's not just a stat line. That's a declaration of war for next season. But what really left a mark wasn't just what he did on the court. It's what he said off of it. In a recent interview on the Glass Half Full podcast with journalist Craig Melvin, Tatum made a major statement about his future in Boston, getting straight to the point when asked what he was still chasing in his career. No beating around the bush, no PR answers, winning another championship and hoisting that Finals MVP trophy. When Melvin asked if he could get that done in Boston, Tatum didn't even blink. His answer was a single, powerful, absolutely. Nation, for those who watched those 2024 finals, you know exactly what that means. Tatum was the centerpiece of Banner 18, but it was Jaylen Brown who took home the Finals MVP, and that stuck with him. That's the chip on his shoulder he wants to brush off. It's not vanity, it's championship ambition. It's the kind of hunger that makes an athlete wake up earlier, grind harder, and refuse to get comfortable with past success. Now think about the historical weight of that. Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, 2 of the biggest names in Boston Celtics history. Neither of them won 2 rings with the team. If Tatum secures a second title with a Finals MVP on his resume, he rewrites his own legacy within the franchise. He enters a whole different tier of the conversation. And look at the context here. He said in his playoff exit interview that he's never stopped feeling that sense of urgency, right from his rookie year. And that urgency isn't going anywhere. This is coming off a season where they blew a 3-1 lead to Philly. And on top of that, he had to sit out Game 7 due to knee stiffness. Just imagine what he's going to do with a full offseason, a rested body, and a mind locked onto a single target. The good news is that Tatum is in Boston. The better news is he wants to stay. But what happens next is what will dictate whether that desire turns into reality or just stays a quote. Speaking of building a roster worthy of that goal, Brad Stevens has an intense summer ahead of him. The franchise lost a series they had in the bag, bounced out of the first round in heartbreaking fashion, and now the president of basketball operations has no choice but to make moves. It's already confirmed. Boston is heading into this offseason with the $15 million mid-level exception available, and one name has already been pushed to the center of the table as the prime candidate. That name is Coby White. The guard, who went 7th overall in the 2019 draft, is being targeted as a possible free agency acquisition for the Celtics. He split the season between the Chicago Bulls and the Charlotte Hornets, showing consistency where a lot of people doubted him. In 50 games, he averaged 17.4 points, 3.4 rebounds, and 4 assists. When he got to Charlotte and embraced the 6th-man role, he was even more lethal. 15.6 points off the bench, shooting 39.1% from deep in under 20 minutes a night. That is elite per-minute production. Justin Lager from NBC Sports Boston is the one who set the table for this. White would be the ideal MLE candidate after a rock-solid season, bringing the potential to replicate in Boston's rotation what Anthony Simons was doing before being dealt to the Bulls for Nikola Vucevic. The vision is to have another playmaking scorer when Tatum and Jaylen Brown need a breather. It makes sense. A lot of sense. But here comes the part that's going to split the fan base. Kendrick Perkins, a former Celtics champ, went on ESPN and dropped a nuke. He wants Boston to pick up the phone and dial Milwaukee. He wants Giannis Antetokounmpo in green and gold. And the trade chip would be Jaylen Brown. Now hold up, because this is the debate that's going to take over the comments section down below. Perkins literally said, "Who doesn't want to see Tatum and Giannis together? Maybe they have to give up Jaylen Brown, but here in Beantown, we want banners." Can you even picture that duo? Two former MVP candidates, two elite attackers side by side at the Garden? The problem is, the emotional, financial, and strategic cost of shipping Brown out is massive. And the front office has signaled so far that they have no intention of breaking up Tatum and Brown. Brad Stevens made it crystal clear in the presser. The team needs to get better, but that doesn't mean tearing down what they've built. The ball is in the air, and what comes next in this script could completely flip the math on all these negotiations. Because there's a player on the roster that nobody is talking about enough, but who could be the linchpin to this entire offseason puzzle. He's not a superstar, he's not an all-star. But what he represents financially could unlock doors that maybe not even Brad Stevens fully sees yet. We're talking about Sam Hauser. Boston's sharpshooter is sitting on an $11 million contract and is one of the deadliest three-point specialists in the league. And he's going to play a fundamental role if the Celtics are to achieve a perfect offseason. John Corrales from Sports Illustrated pointed out something the fan base needs to digest carefully. If Boston uses Hauser in a sign-and-trade scenario, the franchise can simultaneously move the $27.7 million traded player exception left by Anthony Simon's departure, while still holding on to the full mid-level exception. Think about the sheer power of that. Corrales even mapped out a concrete example using Rui Hachimura from the Los Angeles Lakers. Boston could offer a starting salary of $20 million in a sign-and-trade, send Hauser to LA, take back roughly $9 million in salary, and still have the $14 million MLE available for another piece, all at the exact same time. It basically means bringing in two heavy rotation players at the cost of a specialist who might have already hit his ceiling. And here's the part that's going to rub some fans the wrong way. Moving Hauser isn't about him being a bad player. Far from it. He's one of Boston's purest shooters. He's consistent. He's a soldier for this squad. But last season proved something crucial. Hauser is a specialist, and specialists have a ceiling. Outside of the three ball, he doesn't alter the game much. He's not an elite lockdown defender. He's not creating for his teammates. And when those shots stop dropping, then what? Meanwhile, Boston has Jordan Walsh, Baylor Shireman, and Hugo Gonzalez fighting for minutes. None of them are anywhere near the shooter Hauser is right now. But all three have a higher ceiling as all-around basketball players. And when the front office looks at the next 2 to 3 years, that distinction matters. Letting Hauser go would be tough emotionally. Nobody wants to lose a guy who delivered in clutch moments. But Boston just got bounced in the first round of the playoffs for the second year in a row. Sentimental value isn't hanging banner 19 in the Garden rafters. Corrales summed it up perfectly. Leveraging Hauser the right way could be the difference between a routine offseason and an offseason that changes the entire trajectory of the Celtics. The question is whether Stevens is going to have the guts to push the button. So, Celtics Nation, let's recap the day. Tatum went on the record saying he wants another ring and that Finals MVP right here in Boston. The front office is eyeing Coby White for the MLE, with the shadow of Giannis looming over the background, and Jaylen Brown caught in the middle of it all. And Sam Hauser just might be the financial master key that unlocks the vault to this entire offseason. But here are the questions I want you blowing up the comments with right now. Would you pull the trigger on trading Jaylen Brown for Giannis? And should Boston sacrifice Hauser to hunt down something bigger? Drop your takes down below. Hit that subscribe button and show the channel some love.